are mine now. You belong to me. Today we're going to play a new fun game.
Hello and welcome to the Twin Peaks podcast. My name's Dan.
My name's Nicole.
Your name's Nicole. We're back again. This week is our Food in Films episode, and we've got 3 sections, as always. Anything goes, where we talk about our lives and etc. stuff, etc. things, whatever's on our minds, really. And in the main bit, we're going to talk about food-themed films, and we're going to talk about Raw and The 100-Foot Journey. And then we pick our films for next week. We've got a theme locked in. We've got our picks ready, I think, for the most part. I've still got one to go, kind of. And then the last bit is Stitch Up. And you lost last time. Finally.
Yeah.
And you were the one that had to watch Artemis Fowl.
Artemis Fowl. Watched it on a big screen at my friend's house.
Did you? Oh, yes,
Yeah.
You put that in the group, didn't you? I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought, you're living it up a little bit, weren't you?
I was like, I'm not paying to watch this shit properly.
You use somebody else's subscription.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't blame you. So what's been going on with you then in Anything Goes section, Nicole?
Ooh,
I just want to mention quickly, I saw your coronavirus stop motion, which was great.
Fuck Corona. That's a friend from Make-A-Wish. It's her business. She's got a cookie, or it's kind of a side hustle, and she does specialty cookies. And she has been, since coronavirus has been happening, she's been selling a lot of Fuck Corona cookies. So yeah, fuck this.
Yeah, they probably didn't sell many before the pandemic.
Yeah, no.
It's a very very niche market.
What have I been up to this week? I went to. I said on the last podcast I was going to Trentham Falls. Yeah. I did that on Sunday with some mates. And
how was
we went
that?
Underneath the waterfall. That was beautiful. So got absolutely soaked. Walked down the stream of the waterfall and then back up. And then the ranger came. He's like, you're not supposed to be down here. I was like, that's a bit awkward.
Fucking rangers. Who do they think they are?
Lucky when we came back up, it was packed full of people. I was like, fuck, lucky we came early. Yeah. What else have I been up to? Oh, I donated plasma. As usual. Again. I learned that my blood type is very good for plasma. So they're like, yes, please keep coming in. So
really?
Good to know. Yeah. Do you know what blood type you are, Dan?
The red one. I saw it once. So I was like, oh no, it's the red one. Done. I don't know.
Today,
what is it? Is it like A, B, and
it's like A,
C, D?
A, B.
All right.
O. Anyway.
You're O, are you?
I'm AB positive.
Right.
If my listeners ever see me out and about and I'm in need of blood, they know I can.
Yeah, if they happen to have the same blood type, then it's good to have these little backup plans, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll just tattoo it on my arm so anyone knows exactly what blood type I am.
Yeah.
Today I went to the city. I had coffee with Food.Films today.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was in the city, right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. So
how are they? How are they getting on? Are they well? How was the coffee?
Well. It was lovely coffee. I think we hung out for a good hour. So they've been practicing their drawing skills. And I think early this week they put a post from a film, a screenshot of a film.
Yes, I saw this actually. Yeah, I saw this. Yeah. It was the fat, was it fat on the meat? Glistening fat. For some reason the glistening fat is just stuck in my head.
It's like, it looks like a pork ramen Asian bowl. So yeah, and for the listeners, I didn't know their name, I didn't know their gender, I didn't know. The only thing I knew was about the job that they do and that they've got a sister, and that's it. So I was literally meeting this person for the first time, have no idea who they are.
You're not supposed to talk to strangers.
I know, but I tend to get myself into these things very often.
Yeah.
99% of the time they always work out fine. So
it's fine, isn't it?
It's fine.
You know what you're doing. You go to a public place. You got a safe word with the waiter.
Exactly. Mind you, it's COVID at the time, so there's hardly anyone around. So
that's true.
If they if it turned out really bad, then there was no one to help me anyway.
You could have run away, I guess. You've always got that.
I got my legs.
You
What
got
have
your
you been
legs.
up to?
Well, I've been up to not an awful lot. I went for a big old run last weekend. I did a 7 miles on Friday, and then on Saturday I went out again and I ended up doing 12 miles on Saturday. Almost vomited my my lungs up. I also ran into a lamppost backwards. So while I was doing a sort of a mid-session kind of warm-up, just mucking about sort of thing, I started running backwards and turned around and I was like, oh, bang, straight into a lamppost. So that was very embarrassing. So I quickly put all the power in my legs and just had it on my toes. I left immediately.
Yeah.
But I was knackered. I got a massive blister. So not to talk about my ailments all the time, but and since then I've not been able to put my shoes on, so I've not been able to go running.
Oh shit!
And it's the pain because I love my running.
Fine.
No, but I mean, apart from, I'm not being able to do an awful lot because of my injuries and my various ailments.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching a couple of films, not too many, but I watched Mad Max Fury Road again a few times this year. I love it. I think I like it more and more each time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little post on it during the week and said, really liked the film first time I saw it, thought it was really good. And the next time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is like a fantastic film with the music and all of the action set pieces and stuff. It's like a really solid action film, but it does feel like a piece of art to me as well, with all the colours and all of the editing and the stunt work and stuff and the music and the score and everything just works together really well, especially in that valley part in the middle of the film with the bikes going over the truck and Hardy's there, Super Hardy, with his shooting his gun out the window and Charlize Theron. It's just everything about that film. I love it, and I love just putting it on with surround sound, annoying the fuck out of the neighbours. Because to be fair, the only film that the neighbours seem to watch is Braveheart. Every time I Braveheart, I don't know why. 3 times since I've been in lockdown, 3 times I've put it on. How can you watch Braveheart 3 times? I just keep hearing. Is that Titanic? That might be Titanic.
It might be Titanic.
Same thing. But yeah, so I watched Mad Max is the main film I watched. I did watch The Lost Boys during the week because it's a vampire flick from the 80s, 87 I think it was. But the dude who directed it, Joel Schumacher, he passed away last week. So I was sort of looking through my Blu-ray collection and I wanted to do like a trivia post based on the film he had directed. So I watched The Lost Boys and then watched the commentary afterwards. But apart from that, I think that's pretty much all I've been up to, mate. Films and moaning about my injuries.
Whatever.
Not as exciting as you as making podcast pals. Instagram friends.
Besties. Besties for life.
That's it. You're my best friend now.
And we're the same age, funny enough. Technically, they're 29 at the moment, but I'll be turning 30 in September. So, yes.
But you're both 29 now, so you're 29 friends.
Yeah.
The number 29, sequel to the Jim Carrey film. 2 friends meet, they're both 29. Shit's going to get crazy.
Is that Dumb and Dumber?
No, I'm just making shit up.
No. Oh.
I'm talking
nonsense. We should do a Jim Carrey double bill at some point.
We should definitely do a Jim Carrey double. That's a great idea.
I fucking love Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is
fucking legend. That guy.
It's the funniest. I watched When Nature Calls early on in lockdown because it's just it's just silly film, isn't it? Well, Albert and I did a Safari double bill. When we recorded it, we said we were idiots really because we should have picked Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely should, and we didn't. So I watched it anyway. But yeah, Jim Carrey. Double bill. I love it. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it soon.
Yes. What have I been watching? I finished off The Sinner. Season 3 came out about a couple of weeks ago. I have to say the first season is the best season out of the 3. I mean, there's still 2 and 3 are still good, but the first season, I think is it Jessica Biel is in the first one. And they're on the beach and, there's a bit of music playing in the background and I think she's cutting an apple and then all of a sudden she goes into the water and like stabs someone and you're like, what the hell has just happened?
Right.
and then it's like the criminal case of her, like the reason why she stabbed this person, but there's a whole psychological part figuring out why she actually did it, what triggered her to actually stab this person.
Yeah, that unfolds like through the season, doesn't it?
Yeah. I watched Last Christmas, which I thought was going to be...
Oh, yeah.
Boy George? George Michael
music in it.
Yeah, a lot
Gotta
of
have
faith,
the faith. Ah.
Do. Yeah, a lot of that. I'm like,
It's got that one as well, is it? Do.
Last Christmas.
Oh, fuck off. Don't start singing that. It's July.
It's Christmas in July in Melbourne.
Tell you, the one good thing about the fucking pandemic, if the shops are shut, you won't have to listen to the fucking Christmas songs.
That's true. That film was actually not as bad as what I thought it was going to be.
Really?
And then,
I've heard very mixed things. I've heard I've heard between terrible and, all right.
Yeah. I think maybe because I came into thinking it was going to be really shit.
Yeah.
I thought, it's a bit funny. But it's easy watch. I don't know, maybe you would hate it. Maybe it's potential stitch up for you, but we'll see.
Maybe. I know what happens in the end as well, so I just no point in me watching it.
I kind of figured out what was going to happen in the end way before, like when it just came out. I was like, oh. And I remember talking to someone at our workplace. I was like, they're like, oh, I don't want to spoil it. I'm like, does this happen? They're like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, pretty easy.
Yeah.
To figure it out kind of thing. And then I watched a couple of foodie shows, like Restaurants on the Edge.
Restaurants on the Edge?
Quite good.
Okay.
That's on Netflix. This one. You know how Gordon Ramsay
swears?
he swears a lot, and then he goes to restaurants and he's like, fuck, this is all shit.
He swears at a restaurant.
Similar concept. So these restaurants are at beautiful locations. There's no swearing.
Good.
And there's like three Canadians. One's a restaurateur, one's a chef, and one's a designer. And every episode's in a different country as well.
Yeah.
So then you get to discover the country and see their culture and what foods they have.
It's like a DIY restaurant show, cooking show. All the things you love combined.
Cooking, interior design, travel. And the first episode is on Malta, so... I loved it even more. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I watched one episode of Crazy Delicious.
What's that?
It's a Channel 4 show, but it's on Netflix. It's not that great, I have to say. It's weird because it's like this fantasy. It's like the set is in like a fantasy land, and there's 3 gods that are at the top of the staircase, and these amateur chefs that have to cook these meals kind of thing, and they have to take it up to the gods to get their approval.
Oh, fuck off. I hate it. I hate this show already. I hate it.
You know
Please
what they win?
I don't...
Guess what they win?
Eternity in Heaven.
No. They win, like, a gold apple that comes off the tree. That's all they win at the end of the episode.
Oh, I see. Yes, religious thing. Is the apple gold? In real life, I mean. In real life, I
guess it would be just like a red apple.
I guess, or green.
Yeah.
Certainly not gold.
So it was gold.
Crazy Delicious. Was it Crazy Delicious?
Yeah. Crazy Delicious.
Not fucking watching show. Crazy Delicious.
Thanks for that.
Stitch up. Right, shall we move on to the next part of the show where we're going to talk about our foodie films. Films in food in films. Yeah. Our food themed section this week. We've got Raw and we've got 100-Foot Journeys to talk about. I started with Raw. I think you did as well, didn't you?
I also started with Raw. Yeah, I wanted to start with something dark and then something lighthearted.
So Raw, 2016, directed by Julia Ducournau. I think I pronounced that correctly. A French lady. 2016, 99 minutes long, and the synopsis reads, or the tagline is, "What are you hungry for?" And the synopsis reads, "In Justine's family, everyone is a vet and a vegetarian. At 16, she's a gifted teen ready to take on her first year in vet school, where her older sister also studies. And there she gets no time to settle. Hazing starts right away. Justine is forced to eat raw meat for the first time in her life. Unexpected consequences emerge as her true self begins to form. That took forever to read that. Last time, I read that synopsis, and I had no idea what hazing was. And now I know what hazing is. Hazing.
Hazing.
Yeah. Because it says in the synopsis that when she gets to the vet school, the hazing starts. And I was like, what's hazing? I had no idea. But it's like, what do they call it? Initiation, isn't it? Like ceremonies, like do this silly thing, like set yourself on fire and eat a raw chicken. So the budget was 3.8 million and the worldwide box office was 3 million. So it lost almost a mil, which is not great, is it really? Unfortunately.
Not ideal.
No. It's a shame. I mean, I remember hearing about this film. I'm really surprised it didn't at least break even, to be honest, because I remember hearing about this film. And, well, right out of the gate, I really liked it. I thought it was great. So it's got that going for it, that I liked it. Like, that makes a difference. But I remember hearing a lot about it and a lot about the controversy about people walking out of cinemas and fainting because of all of the food scenes. I would have thought that would have given it a big like marketing push. And I would have thought a lot of people would have gone to see it. Right, cast, I'm going to fuck this up, so I apologise. Garance Murillo as Justine, Ella Rumpf as Alexia, Rabba Knight Ufella as Adrian. So just look it up on Letterboxd. Start of the film, I think the opening scene was we see a car accident, right? And we don't know what's going on. We just see an accident. I was confused for ages. Trying to figure out what was going on there. And I wondered if they were going to explain it, but they did.
Did you notice the girl walk up to the car?
I noticed a person, yeah. I noticed that I didn't know, I couldn't make out it was a girl.
Did you notice that, like, they jumped at the car? I didn't notice that at the start. I was like,
no,
what the
I don't think
just
so.
happened?
But then it goes on to, we see Justine, who's just about to go to college, who's been dropped off to college by her parents, her mum and dad. And they're all vegetarians, and they stop at this diner and they have some mash, and Justine gets some meat in a mashed potato, and her mum goes Garrity, and she goes and talks to the staff. And I feel like the dad was quite submissive, like he's maybe a bit bossed around and stuff. But anyway, sort of scene moves on, and she goes to college, and all this hazing stuff's going on, and she has to do these extreme things. They chuck blood on them, and she has to eat a
rabbit's kidney.
A rabbit's kidney. Yeah, that's right.
A kidney's
rabbit.
A kidney's rabbit.
That's what we'll say. Yeah, and she obviously doesn't want to do it because she's a vegetarian, and also it's gross. So why would she do it? But she does. Her sister kind of forces her to, Alexia. And kind of from there, she starts to get a taste for raw meat. She kind of is hiding it at first. She nicks a burger. She nicks a burger from the canteen and shoves it in her pocket.
That's right.
And then she goes to eat a raw chicken breast. Raw chicken breast, yeah. That was just sugar, apparently, that chicken breast.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could make sugar look like a chicken breast, but I guess, I don't know, you can somehow. It's sort of a coming-of-age story, really, isn't it? Like, in a weird way. Because she's been brought up vegetarian, and then she starts to sample meat, and specifically raw meat, and then obviously later human meat, flesh, cannibalism. But it's like she's been repressing that her whole life without knowing it, and now she's sort of coming into her own and finding this stuff out about her. So it's a fucked up coming of age story, isn't it? Properly.
That scene where her sister's trying to wax her bikini line and then
oh my god! Do you know what I was holding my breath in that scene? I think that's when I texted you. I was like, I can't watch this. What's happening?
Yeah, she's waxing her sister's bikini line, and then the wax gets stuck, and I was just like, oh my god, she's gonna rip her fucking skin off.
I know.
And she's like, oh, okay, I can't get this wax off. Gonna use the scissors. All of a sudden, Alexia cuts her finger.
Yeah.
And then just faints to the ground. So I think she calls the ambulance. And then next minute, she gets the finger and she, like, tastes the blood and she's like, oh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
And fucking eats and then she eats the finger like it's a bloody chicken wing.
Yeah, it just goes for it, didn't she? It's fucking gross. It was
It's
gross.
so weird.
And her sister,
like,
her sister wakes up and she sees her.
yeah. She feels a little bit ashamed of eating her finger. Her
Yeah.
sister's finger.
I mean, you would do, wouldn't you? I'd feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Shame is definitely one of the emotions I'd be feeling. Yeah, her sister kind of looks at her. I guess at the time when you're watching it, you're thinking, like this is weird. But Alexia doesn't really have a problem with it, does she? She's kind of like, oh, all right, you bitch.
She's like, oh, well, then you're on the same page as me, because she also, you've eaten humans now. And then she showed her she went to the main road and then did the same thing that happened in the first scene that you see. So just jump in front of a car and then the car hits the tree. And then Alexia's eating the brains out of the fatalities.
Like her causing those accidents is the equivalent of us going through a drive-through KFC, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like she she causes the accident and then she just starts chomping on their brains. Just a little bit though. They're like, oh, just a little bit. We don't want to.
Don't make it too obvious.
Exactly. We don't want to make it too obvious. Yeah, we don't want to cause a scene, do we?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was horrific, Nick. But the thing, the scene that made me weirdly gross out the most is when she's bringing up the hair in the toilet, and I didn't know why she was doing that. Would she eat a horse or something? What happened?
It's like she was like a cat getting a hairball out. I was like,
yeah. I didn't know what that was about, but I found that really hard when she was pulling it, because you could, as she was pulling, like tugging the hair, you could just feel it on the back of your throat, can't you? Just
stop it.
I'm sorry.
Gross. Yeah.
I hope no one's vomiting in their car while they're listening to this. Fuck me. This was dark, but I loved it. I thought it was really, really good.
Really well done.
Really dark. Obviously, we said it's coming of age, and it seems to be about all those sort of repressed desires and keeping it, down there. And you shouldn't do that because it's going to come out anyway. And we need to discuss these things, and people need to make their own moral choices and things like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought it was really, really good. And that ending, I didn't see that coming at all. I must admit, when
she's with her parents in the diner.
I'm talking about the very final scene. But if I just rewind slightly, yeah. So so Justine wakes up in bed with Adrian.
Her roommate.
Yeah. And he's sleeping, and she kind of tries to wake him up and get covers off, and he's not waking up. Takes cover off him. There's a big chunk missing out of his leg, and clearly it looks like someone's gone to town on his leg and tried to have a barbecue or something. But he's dead. Yeah. Anyway, she finds this weapon, and she finds her sister sitting down in the kitchen area of their room, and she's watching Dexter. I noticed on the television, which is that murder show, isn't it? The psycho murder guy. I haven't seen it.
That's a really good show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's something I've been meaning to watch, and there's loads of them, so it'd be a good binge one day. And Justine kind of picks her sister up, takes her to the shower, and cleans her up and stuff. And obviously, Alexia has killed Adrian and then eaten his leg, and they lock her up. They lock up Alexia. She's in prison. Justine visits her, and clearly they've still got like a relationship because they've got that bond. They're both, that kind of bond that you never lose with someone. When you're both cannibals and you both eat raw flesh. You've always got that. We've always got the raw flesh.
We've got that connection.
We've always got that connection. Yeah, remember that time we ate Tony's leg? Yeah, and then, but then it skips forward, and Justine's having dinner with her mum and dad, and her mum's doing the usual, don't leave the table till you've eaten all your dinner. Controlling, repressing. And her dad starts giving her a speech like, it's not your fault. It's not Alexia's fault. She's like, I know, Dad. And he's like, it's just, and he explains that when he met his mum, she basically took a bite out of his lip, and she was a cannibal as well. And he's opened up his shirt, and he's got loads of chunks missing out of his
Bite
skin,
marks,
horrible, bite marks and stuff. And then it finishes, and I was like, oh, they're all cannibals, or 3 of them are cannibals. I was like, wow. And it's meant to be like a hereditary thing or something. I read or heard somewhere, maybe it was a theory or whatever, but this is like a world where cannibals are sort of real and it's hereditary. But yeah, I really, really loved that ending. I thought it was a great ending. I really like that sort of thing where there's like a big reveal and then it just finishes. That sort of ending really, I don't know, it just appeals to me a lot.
Would you call this a foodie film, though? In a way, I guess
Yes.
it is, but
I think
More
it's literally about consuming. It's not really, is it? Let's be honest. It's not a food film, is it? I was trying to explain it. I was trying to get round it, but let's just be upfront and say no, it's not. It's because she does consume food, and some humans, but ultimately it's about cannibalism. But also, it's not really about that either. It's just a device to tell that emotional story. I don't think so. Not quite. What do you think?
Not quite a foodie film, but I get why we chose this film.
I'm really glad I watched it. And I mean, it's not a foodie film in the way that the next film is a foodie film. The next film is a foodie film. Like this one, the 100-Foot Journey made up for any food that wasn't present in Raw. There was one bit there was one bit that made me gag. There was another bit where I felt really uncomfortable. It was when she got splashed with paint and she started kissing the dude. She bit his lip. And then I remember thinking, there's going to be a blowjob scene coming up, isn't there? And I was like, oh my God. And I started like putting my hand over my areas, like, oh, cringing. But it never happened. And to be honest, I think they missed the trick. Yes, so I'm going to score this film an 8-star film for me. What do you think?
I think it would be about an 8, 8.5.
All right, then let's do the 100-Foot Journey. The 100-Foot Journey is 2014, directed by Lasse Hallström. The tagline: "Life's greatest journey begins with the first step." And the synopsis is a story centered around an Indian family who moves to France and opens a restaurant across the street from a Michelin star French restaurant. So budget, 22 million. Worldwide box office was 89.5 million. So it did pretty well. Did very well. Stars Helen Mirren as Madame Mallory, Om Puri as Papa, Manish Dayal as Hassan, and Charlotte Le Bon as Marguerite. So yesterday, I sat down in true foodie fashion. I sat down with my Cocoa Pops, my bowl of Cocoa Pops, and I watched.
Did you have any little chocolate bits, little Oreos added?
No, I'm being very good. So it's just plain Cocoa Pops with milk at the moment. But I sat down with my Cocoa Pops, and I decided to watch this film. And I found this a slog. I told you already. The first half an hour of this film I found very, very,
very slow.
Dull. Very dull. I stopped it and started it quite a few times. And it didn't really pick up for me until the last half of the film. They get a restaurant and it's near Helen Mirren's restaurant, who's this super duper restaurant owner, boss lady.
Yeah.
And
Michelin stars.
Michelin star. She's got 1 Michelin star. And it's kind of her dream to get that second Michelin star, right? And this Indian family come in and they open this restaurant. Very quickly, the restaurant catches fire somehow.
Yeah, because one of her chefs.
That's right. Yeah.
On fire.
Yeah, one of Mallory's chefs sets fire to the family's restaurant, and it burns down. And Hassan decides he wants to go and try and work for Mallory, but all up to this point, Mallory's like this hard, cold person, and she just wants to get her star, and that's all really that she cares about. But she does start to warm to this family. Like particularly the kid Hassan is quite wholesome, isn't he? He's quite a nice person. You can't not like him. He's well-intentioned, good morals, and all that stuff. Like the fibre of humanity.
So Michelin star,
Hassan wants to work at a restaurant.
And she agrees to take Hassan on in the end, and his dad's kind of reluctant to let him go because she's the enemy and stuff. But Papa, he begins to form a bit of a friendship with old Mallory, doesn't he? And they start going out and getting very friendly, very friendly indeed. Yeah, it's quite romantic. And it's like it's his girlfriend almost, as he says in the film, and she loses her shit briefly and then immediately changes her mind. I was like, what is going on? I think, to be honest, I think I must have dipped in and out because a lot of the time something happened and I think I missed totally what was going on.
What's going on?
Yeah, because it just didn't. Oh,
sorry, my phone just went off.
Yes, we all know. We all know. Oh, again, you got another one. Oh, if you're getting messages, Nicole, you got to read it out to the whole class.
Okay, it's my friend Ryan. I just asked him what streaming service I should get for is it A-League? No, A-League is Australian. What is the football league in UK? Is it?
What do you mean? Football. It's the top one. It's the best one. We call it the best league.
Best league.
We call it best league.
Back to the show.
Back to the pods. Yeah, it wasn't my. I was really struggled with it because it's just not my sort of story. It's a little bit sentimental. I did find it more interesting as it went on, and had the second half been as dull as the first half for me, I think I would have given this a really bad score. From my personal view, I did find maybe it was just a screen I was watching it on, but there were some really darkly lit scenes.
I thought that was my TV, actually.
That's what I was wondering.
Ah, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was that, and that always puts me off, to be honest, when there's that. Sometimes it's sort of important to the narrative and stuff, and maybe it was, who knows, maybe I've got to watch it on a bigger screen, but that annoys me, that sort of thing. So
my foodie facts are about this film. So it's like little food errors that they had in this film.
Oh, food errors.
Food errors, yes.
Okay.
Let's hear it. So there's a scene. So Marguerite collects some mushrooms called the boletus. Okay. These orange style mushrooms.
Yep.
Which are fully edible. And then was told by Madame Mallory that these are poisonous mushrooms. So that was one food error. Okay. The second one is an omelette made in traditional French style should not be browned to such a great extent, even if a new creation by an emerging chef. So that was also another food error.
They cooked it too much.
Yes. And the final thing, you know how Marguerite and Hassan are having a little picnic and he's made these 5 mother sauces of the country, of the French cuisine?
I think I must have blanked out. I think I must have zoned out when that was happening. The only bit I remember is the fucking pots. Anyways, please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So Marguerite and Hassan are having a picnic and he wants to learn about the French cuisine. So she gives him these cookbooks and he cooks these 5 mother sauces. Yeah. And one of them ends up being a chutney tomato sauce, which is not very French. So they're my food errors.
Oh, well done. How did you pick them up? Was that just research-based or was that all knowledge-based?
All IMDb.
IMDb.
Is that the best place to find facts? I don't know.
Yeah, in general, I always start there. But I couldn't find any on this one. I must admit, I texted you earlier and I only finished watching this film about 7 minutes before we started recording the podcast. So, literally... and then so I was sort of rushing around trying to find some. It doesn't show at all, does it?
Yeah.
I was trying to find some facts and I couldn't find them. So well done to you. Well done to you, Nicole.
Yay!
You get a star.
Woo! Also, fun fact: the family name Kadam translates to foot in Urdu or Hindi.
Okay.
So 100-foot journey.
Ah, I see.
Family name. Yeah.
They're the Foot family.
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, the restaurant is exactly 100 feet from the other restaurant, so hence why they called it 100-foot journey.
Even better. 2 reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Clever. I mean, I've got to be honest, I haven't got an awful lot to say about this film because I didn't like it very much. It wasn't for me. I didn't hate it, but the thing that they live and die by the reviews, right? So she's always. I'm not going to explain the plot anymore, but they live and die by all these reviews, the Michelin stars, and she's been waiting 30 years, and it just that whole concept seems a bit futile to me. Like to take something and review it, and tell people what they think of it, and like it's important. It seems a bit silly to me. Anyway, I scored this 5 out of 10.
I'll probably give it a 5.5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
My mum, I watched this with my mum, and she loved it. And it's a very family film. Yeah, I'll give it a 5.5, just because mum loved it.
This is a heartwarming film. Is that what they say? Yes.
Very heartwarming film.
Heartfoot warming. Did you say?
Heartfoot warming. No, I said heartwarming.
Heartwarming, yeah. Oh, the 100-foot Snorefest. That's what we're calling it.
Is that what you're going to put on your review?
That's my letterbox review. 100-foot Snorefest. Let's move on to the next section, where we've got to pick our films for next week based on a theme. What this time is your choice, Nicole? What have you chosen for us?
I've chosen documentaries.
Docos
for this week's double bill.
So, who's going to go first? The question is, I think it's your turn, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like whenever someone chooses a topic, they usually go first. So
yes, that's what we do. That's definitely the rule that we've just thought of just now.
Yeah. So, my first choice is That Kid Begins.
I like the sound of this.
Yeah.
Already. All right.
My second choice is The Biggest Little Farm.
I thought you was going to say The Biggest Little Fart. Very immature. The Biggest Little Farm.
The Biggest Little Farm.
Okay.
And my last choice is Faces, Places.
Right, I am going for... I was going to do a silly one. I was going to joke and I was going to put Borat on.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a doco, is it? I just really want to watch Borat. But I'm not doing that, really. So my first choice is... It's a Blu-ray that I own. And I've wanted to watch it for so long. I've never seen it, but I own it. It's Senna.
Senna.
Yeah. My next option is a bit predictable, but I'm going for Amy. And my final option is 3 Miles North of Malcolm.
Oh, God. No.
There you go. I wonder what you're going to knock out.
Oh, I wonder which one.
I can't stand a mystery.
Was it Dimitri that gave us that choice?
Yeah, that was Dimitri's film.
Yeah.
He made us watch that last year, and it's hilarious. It's
hilarious.
one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen.
Fucking bizarre. It's
very bizarre. Very bizarre. Right, okay, so I shall have to watch that on my own. I'm going to knock out, not knowing anything about any of these films, I'm going to get rid of The Biggest Little Farm.
Oh, okay.
Because it's got the word farm in it, and I thought that was too closely linked to food. That's my only reasoning. We're now left with, in your list, That Kid Begins and Faces Places. And in my list, Senna and Amy.
So Faces, Places.
Yes.
Created in 2017. And this is the synopsis. So director Agnes Butter and photographer / muralist JR's journey through rural France and form an unlikely friendship. They're
French friends.
French friends.
Paris pals.
So JR is someone who I follow on Instagram, and he creates these murals or photographs, black and white photographs, and they're all over the world, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to watch this documentary, and if you don't choose it, I will probably still watch it this week.
You'll still watch it.
But yeah, he created a mural in a jail in the US, and
Yeah.
it was all of the jailies. What do you call people that are in jail?
Criminals.
Criminals. I was like, oh
Jailies. Jailies. Jaylee. Prisoners. They're prisoners, Nicole.
Prisoners. That's the word.
Prisoners.
He created a mural with all these prisoners in their, I guess, their outdoor area, and it's really, really beautiful. And you can go on his website, and if you go on each face, they tell their story. So yeah, long story short, he is someone that I follow on Instagram and would love to be part of one of his projects one day, whether it's like putting one of the murals up on buildings or on any surface kind of thing. So that's why I chose this film.
Okay, quite arty sort of based film. Very up your street.
Yes. All of these films are kind of related to me in a way.
Okay. That's good. That's what it's all about.
So Bat Kid Begins.
Yeah.
A 2015 film. And the synopsis is, on November 15th, 2013, the world came together to grant one 5-year-old leukemia patient with his wish to be a Batman for a day. Bat Kid Begins looks at why and how this phenomenon took place, becoming one of the biggest good news stories of all time. So it's about a kid he's got leukemia, and the Make-A-Wish team visit his family, and what he wants to do for his wish is become Batman for a day, and you get to see that journey. So it's kind of like what I do at Make-A-Wish.
Oh, okay, yeah. Two quite personal choices to you then. This is going to be quite tough for me to decide because I'm not sure. I've not seen either of them, so I'm very much relying on your passion for these.
Yeah.
Try and see what you're thinking in your brain. I'm going to read my synopsises now. My first option was Senna, and it was directed by Asif Kapadia. Synopsis is Senna's remarkable story, charting his physical and spiritual achievements on and off the track, his quest for perfection, and the mythical status he has since attained, is the subject of Senna, a documentary feature that spans the racing legend's years as an F1 driver from his opening season in 1984 to his untimely death a decade later. So it's about Ayrton Senna, Formula One race car driver. He died in 1994. And I actually watched that race with my mum and dad, and it was tragic. And I bought this on Blu-ray about a year ago, and I just haven't got around to watching it yet. And I've heard it's very good. My next choice was Amy, and this, funnily enough, is directed by the same person. 2015, the tagline is "The Girl Behind the Name," Amy Winehouse. And the synopsis reads, a documentary on the life of Amy Winehouse, the immensely talented yet doomed songstress. We see her from her teen years, where she already showed her singing abilities, to her finding success, and then her downward spiral into alcoholism and drugs. It's a 2-hour film. I've seen about an hour and 45 minutes of this, and I really liked it, but it was very, very late at night, and I think I just fell asleep. And that's why I chose it. So I've got Senna and Amy. I think I know what I would go for. I'm going to knock out Bat Kid Begins from yours. And I'm going to keep... Yeah, did you think it was going to be the other way around?
I thought it would be the other way around just because you like superheroes.
I like Batman. Batman's cool. Faces Places sounds quite interesting. It's seems quite arty and something I probably haven't seen that much of. Sometimes people say I need culture. They say it quite a lot, in fact. So maybe I should start listening to them. Okay. So if I've got Senna and Amy, they're both directed by the same person. So you've got Amy Winehouse and you've got Ayrton Senna. They both died tragically. Which one do you want to learn about more? Or no? Which one would you find more compelling?
I do love Amy Winehouse, and the next time I do karaoke, I would do Valerie. That would be my go-to song.
Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Valerie.
Brilliant. You sound just like her, Nicole. I think Senna and Amy I think they're just telling us, they're both sort of similar, telling the stories of these humans, people human people.
Humans. What do you call humans?
What do you call them
What do
things?
you
They've
call-
got legs. Big old spindly things that keep going past my window. They're
Yeah.
very much stories about kind of one extraordinary person with an amazing talent. So they're both similar.
I have a feeling I have watched Amy before, and I would probably choose her, but
Yeah.
I am interested in seeing what Senna is about. So
Senna.
let's watch Senna.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. I kind of wanted to watch Senna, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, docos. Next week we're doing docos, and we're going to be watching Senna and Faces Places. And that's it for section 2. We've got to move on to section 3 now. And you have to tell me all about Artemis Fowl. How was it? Was it wonderful? Was it magical? Did you cry?
God.
Did you laugh?
It was.
Dog shit.
Yes.
Artemis Fowl. So came out this year, 2020, directed by Kenneth Branagh. The budget was 125 million.
Wow.
Fuck me.
Not
And,
made any money either, because it didn't get a cinematic release, did it?
No, went straight to bloody Disney Plus.
Straight to
which
Disney Plus.
Cast was Ferdia Shaw, and I believe he was Artemis Fowl Jr. Lara McDonald, who was Holly Short. Josh Gad.
Josh Gad.
Josh Gad, who
Yep.
was Mulch. These characters are so not fucking important because this movie did not make any fucking sense. I watched this film with a friend of mine who loved zombies, FYI. I thought this could be a film that he might enjoy. And let me tell you this, he was as confused as I was.
Yeah.
So Artemis' dad is he's a collector, and he goes on these big trips. He just collects like artifacts
Stamps.
and all that jazz. Yeah, collects purchase stamps and
Toenail
international
clippings.
stamps. He goes on big trips and finds these artifacts, and this is supposedly his last job.
Right.
And Artemis is quite smart. He knows a lot about history, and his dad has taught him about fantasy characters like fairies and goblins and giants or whatever. So he gets this phone call from this mystical creature and says, "I've got your dad. You've got 3 days to get this Arculus. If you don't get it for me, he's doomed." Where could this Arculus be in his dad's house? He's got a butler, and his last name is Butler, but he doesn't like being called Butler. You must call him by his first name.
Ryan.
Right, let's call him Ryan.
Brian Butler.
Ryan Butler.
Brian. It has to be Brian with a B, so it's a double B.
So he shows Artemis this secret passage downstairs where all of his dad's artifacts are. He's gone on the computer, like, where is this artifact? And then he's like, oh, Dad told me about fairies. If I can convince a fairy to come to the house, then maybe they can tell me where this artifact is.
I'm very confused.
Yes.
So his dad's gone missing, and he's got to find a thing for this bad.
He's going to find this thing.
Okay.
And then hopefully get his dad back.
And his trials and tribulations. So he gets
like,
many challenges.
Yes. It's like, we have to get the fairies so then we can get the goblins to come to the house to then do this and this. And anyway, what's that guy's name?
Brian Butler.
Josh Gad is this giant dwarf, and he doesn't like being giant. And what he does, dwarves tend to pickpocket, and they love treasure. And he's in jail for some stupid reason that he stole something. And the fairies are like, this is the guy they need to find this Arculus. So they take him out of jail, bring him to the house, and then somehow he figures, he's like, "Ooh, look at this photo frame of his dad." and then he opens the photo frame, the painting of his dad, I should say. Opens the painting, and then there's a
secret safe, and then he figures out with like his hair trying to change the codes of the safe, and then all
With
of a
his
sudden,
hair?
oh my god, with his hair and his nostrils and like his ears, and
Wow.
because it's a fantasy film, anything
Yeah.
can fucking happen in a fantasy film. It
How long was it? Was
throughout
it
the
long?
film, it went for 95 minutes, so not too long.
Pretty short, yeah. It sounds like there's a lot in there for a 95-minute film.
Yeah, I feel like there was too many things happening. A lot of things could get cut, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or they should have just got straight to the point. Sorry, Artemis Jr. It was his first gig. He wasn't very good.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. No.
There's probably a lot of green screen stuff in this, right? So there would have been a lot of acting with pineapples and things like that. That must be quite hard.
I think even if I was a kid, I don't think I would enjoy this film.
No?
To be honest, I think I'd be confused throughout the film. If you see the film, it's got a mix, as you said, it's got a mix of like Harry Potter / every fucking fantasy film. It's just like a bunch of films put together. And I know it's based off a book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could have had more potential, but clearly that didn't happen.
Didn't go down very well with you then.
No.
I shall definitely avoid that one.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to give this 1 Justice League.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's very bad. One star, the same as Glitter.
Yeah.
It's poo. This film's not very
you
good.
bloody
Unfortunately.
stitched me up. You stitched me up, mate.
I did do that. It sounds like I won. What is the next bit?
So we had a poll that I put on for our films. You chose The Fanatic for me to watch.
Yeah.
and and I had to watch, and I chose for you Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island. I saw you put the poll on, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought I wanted to. Did I vote?
You did vote.
I did I? I thought I'd forgotten for a minute, but yeah, no, I did. What were the scores?
Only 5 people voted.
Okay, there's a clear winner then.
It is a clear winner.
Oh dear, I know where this is going. Considering you've got 2 accounts.
You were the only voter for my film.
Really?
So you have, yeah. So
4-1.
you have to, yeah. Yep. And
wow.
I promise you, I only voted once.
Oh,
I was almost tempted to vote, and I was like, no, it's not fair. It's not fair that
I bet if you were losing, you would have voted, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I would have got on to people like, please vote for Dan.
Don't take the moral high ground now and pretend that it's because. All right, fair enough. Listen, Fantasy Island, it could be worse. I actually kind of want to see it, to be honest. I kind of wanted to watch it when it came out, but I heard it was rubbish, so I just didn't bother. Last bit, we got to pick some films for the next poll.
I'm going to give you at least a full month off of not giving you any musicals.
I thought it was no musicals ever again.
That's so not going to happen, man.
All right.
So the film that I'm going to choose for you is called Pledge This.
Pledge This. Is this a documentary?
Paris Hilton's in it.
Oh, fuck off. Paris Hilton's in it. That says it all, doesn't it? I've never seen a Paris Hilton film. That's a lie. I've seen one Paris Hilton film.
Oh, God.
All right, okay, so Pledge This. It sounds horrible.
It sounds horrible. I wouldn't even want to watch it. But
Nicole.
Yes.
Hopefully, if you lose, I would very much like you to watch Catwoman, starring Halle Berry, which is... Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I think I
Have
saw.
you?
I think I may have I've seen this film when it came out. It is pretty bad.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
2004. 2004. It's a horrible film. There's one scene in particular which I just never forget, and it's terrible. So Catwoman. All right. So Pledge This versus Catwoman. Good picks, I think.
Good picks.
Yeah, they're not musicals or romance. They're just good, wholesome, terrible films.
just as you want on a stitch-up film.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we've done it, mate. We've done it. We've done another one. So next time we're going to be watching 2 documentary features. We're going to be watching Senna and Faces Places. I will be watching Fantasy Island.
Where can we find you, Dan?
We can find me on Instagram at flick.face, on Twitter flick_face, on email at twinpixpod@gmail.com. What about yourself?
You can find me on Nika Creative with no E at the end.
No.
Or you can also find me on Cheek and Nika on Instagram as well.
Check those out for some stop motions.
Stop motions.
And general arty stuff.
Yes. Or check out what Melbourne's like.
Melbourne, where do the cool kids hang out in Melbourne? Hanging Rock.
Hanging Rock.
You go to Hanging Rock.
Funny thing, because of the whole COVID thing at the moment, they're saying that Australia is like the Spice Girls at the moment. Do you know why?
No.
Because Victoria ruins everything.
Yep. It's a very funny Spice Girls joke.
And Melbourne is Victoria.
I mean, I get it. It's one of the Spice Girls is called Victoria, and she's rubbish.
And she left. Did she leave the Spice Girls first?
She left the Spice Girls, and she didn't want to come back for the reunion. So all the tabloids went to town on her. I know how rude. How dare you do what you want to do with your life? How dare you? Anyway.
Did you like the Spice Girls when you were little?
No. Let's finish it. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Goodbye.